Do you think that your AAA background helped in going indie? Is there a point where the knowledge just becomes stale and you have to learn new tricks and your background isn't that helpful? Or do you think your foundation in AAA still guides you to this day?
So I would say that there was a ton of what we thought was true about making games from back then, which is totally not applicable.
Right.
And it's just basically just sort of foolish wives' tales that we kind of told ourselves about how things should be done. At the same time, I think there's a lot of really great lessons. I think as the industry got bigger and bigger, and as there was more and more role specialization, and there's also sort of a mentality for new people to have these assumptions about how things should be. Those assumptions are built off of assumptions we made in the early 2000s, which, by the way, is, again, to kind of go back to right as everything was scaling up, right? This PS2 era of old school game developers facing going from 20 to 60 to 90 to 120 man teams or person teams and not knowing how to navigate that scaling. The lessons, the things that we assume about what's right in game development are still some of those same things that didn't work back then. So it's a pretty shaky foundation. I see a lot of that in the stuff that I learned making those games, and largely because of how rugged it was, because of all the crunch and how painful it was. The lessons we learned were sort of practical reality lessons, the kind of the sniff test against whether something is going to have any impact in the software, learning that those things, the complicated things that you're adding at the end that you felt was important, are often just worthless. They're like a pet desire in the back of your head that you never verified, right? There's all these things like getting, because you only get the important stuff together first when you feel like you're in trouble. Mm-hmm. And if you never felt like you were in trouble, you never learned the skills to do that triage. And that stuff always is paying dividends constantly.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of veterans kind of overweight their experience.
I agree. I agree with
it
that.
could be kind of irrelevant as quickly as time goes on. But there definitely still is some wisdom us oldsters can apply to newer or indie developers, I suppose. I think probably maybe the best thing a veteran knows is when a game is done, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like,
fair.
I hear a lot of like, "Oh, this game's almost done." I look at it like, "You're so nowhere near done."
Yeah, exactly. No, I think I agree with that, but I'm also willing to say that most of the most important stuff I know about making games today isn't the stuff that I learned in those first few years.
Yeah.
Other than maybe there were some key leadership lessons, right? Like, why do we employ people if not for them to have agency over their work?
Yeah.
Right? It's like everyone likes to talk crap about micromanagers, but so many of us, when we move into leadership, start doing it. And so I think it's like a natural human inclination to think that you know better. But a phrase I like using is the person that puts the time in and does the work, they get to say.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I agree. I mean, and that's how you get a demoralized team when you just. I also think micromanaging puts you in an early grade. Like, why do you want to give yourself all that stress?
You're suffering just as much as they are.
Yeah, it's like now you're doing their work too.
Yeah,
it's just
brutal.
It's ridiculous.
Sometimes I like talking about whether someone's really big paycheck is being spent to improve the team or is spent against the team.
Yeah. I mean, I like to basically work with people or hire people that I trust to do a good job. And all I need to know is, like, if you can't do something, just let me know so we can work around it. But I mean, people are responsible for what they're doing. And, you just have to, I mean, I guess you just have to not be suffering from Dunning-Kruger. Like, you have to be able to understand people's skill level and what to expect.
Yeah, self-awareness is huge. I feel like there are a bunch of times, when things are really hectic, you're less self-aware. I think I made more mistakes during the crazy busy times and probably lack of sleep. Mm-hmm. That's when it all happens. And then with a little bit of perspective and some time to kind of like take a bird's eye view on something, and then you can just clean up all of the silly mistakes.
Yeah.
The bad attitude mistakes.